Bayne.
A couple of important things happened at the meeting that I wanted to talk about, Nye County Commissioner meeting. A proposed large homeless shelter came before the commission. I wanted to explain what that is, what it's designed to be, or what it sounds a lot like, kind of a homeless headquarters for Nevada, put right here in Pahrump. So I wanted to get to that in just a couple of minutes. But first, very quickly, I wanted to mention a few other things that happened also. The commission all voted to relicense all of these pot shops we have here in town, these marijuana shops. And it seems like there's kind of some confusion, or there had been in the past, where some commissioners felt like they had to license it, the pot shops, or had to license the pot lounges. They said something like, well, the state made it permissible, so we got to pass it. And I just wanted to put this up on the screen here. Washoe County said no. The county commission said no pot lounges here. So we'll follow that and see what happens. You don't have to vote a certain way. Okay, and a second thing, more confusion with the commission I wanted to point out. There's a lot of commentary about these solar farms, and the commissioners are saying that the best way to stop solar farms is to agree to work with the federal government to put the solar farms up. So let that kind of just think about that for a minute. But that is something that they're asserting, that they're saying. And so another agreement signed by your commissioners, all 5 of them. And here's what the actual agreement says. And they're arguing that this is the best way to stop solar farms. So I'm going to read this, let you decide for yourself. Here's just one little part of the agreement. Nye County responsibilities include: Nye County will participate in the environmental analysis and documentation process by providing information regarding environmental issues in which or where Nye County has jurisdiction by law or special expertise. So what does that mean? What that means is that commissioners have agreed that if Nye County has legal jurisdiction to be able to stop solar, they're waiving that right, because we are going to participate in this process. We will participate in the analysis. We will provide information if we have the exclusive jurisdiction to provide it. So if, for example, if the federal government needed Nye County to produce some kind of information, and Nye County was the only person that could do it because of exclusive jurisdiction, and there was no agreement, then the federal government could not put up solar because they didn't have that information. But since we agreed to participate, now they can put up the solar, because we cannot legally back down. We can't say, no, we're not going to give you this information. You need to put up solar. So they've signed a bunch of these things, I think, and I don't know what that means. Someone made a comment, dozens of them. I don't know if that means dozens of solar fields are going up, but you can't participate in something you're trying to stop, not logically or legally. It makes no sense. So if you try to stop solar after agreeing to participate, you're going to be in violation of your agreement. And jurisdiction means that if Nye County, and this is important, if Nye County has some kind of legal right, like statutory legal right to stop solar, that's hidden somewhere in the thousands and thousands and hundreds of thousands of pages of federal regulation somewhere, Nye County will not be able to exercise that right, because we have voted to sign an agreement that we're not going to do it. We're going to participate. And participate doesn't mean stopping something. There's more to this, but I want to get to this homeless issue because this is a big problem. And so I'm going to play for you in a few minutes someone who wants to put up a giant homeless shelter in a 10,000 square foot building here in Pahrump. And we're going to talk about that. But I also wanted to tell you that I'm going to talk about this homeless issue from how I feel about it, what I think should be done. And it's no secret that I'm considering running for county commission in the next year's election. There's an open seat in District 3 where I've been living in the winery area, and there's no incumbent running. So I wanted to talk about that because it's important, and I want you to hear what I have to say about that. But first, I want to explain the problem, which is a lot of homeless people, homeless camps right here in Pahrump. And first, we have to figure out, why is this happening? Why is this all of a sudden happening? So let's go to a report from the county commission at this meeting.
Good morning, Commissioner. Stephanie Elliott, ELLIOTT, Contracts and Grants Manager. We have Kathy McKenna again from Nevada Outreach Training Organization with some fantastic updates on the wonderful progress she's made. Again, as a reminder, we utilized ARPA funding for both the homeless as well as the public assistance programs. And
the commission passed $1.1 million. And I'm going to put this up on the screen here. This is the corresponding document for this person speaking. And you can see here, on December 6, 2022, the Nye County Commission approved this request for over $1 million to support public homeless assistance. So we've got $1.1 million from the government, federal government, to homeless and low income. And so this money's been passed out to people. This, of course, happened in December. Some of this money has. I don't have the exact amount. I believe I saw $600,000. I don't want to say that. But hundreds of thousands of dollars has been kind of passed out here. And this probably explains why there's so much more homeless here than before. And of course, this is the ARPA funding, which is the Joe Biden Build Back, Build America Back as a society, people dependent on government assistance. That's what that is. That's what ARPA is. And that's what we keep passing here. We keep buying into the Biden agenda. So we have all these homeless people because we're giving them money, we're giving them stuff. At a previous meeting, I'm going to play this past video from this program that I do, where I show you how commissioners intend to advertise assistance in order for homeless people to know where to go. Hey, go to Pahrump if you need money. This is what they're talking about. I think this was in May of 2023, just a couple months ago. Might explain why it's going on. And so let me play that for you. Again, this is from a couple of months ago.
I just have a question about how do you get your clients to come? Do you advertise this specifically to the homeless somehow in the paper or on TV? Or how do you get the word out there, word of mouth from each other?
Yes.
Because I never see.
And all the above. So when we did the homeless, count at the end of January. And so when we were visiting them, we let them all know that we had that grant funding out there, outreach to be able to get that.
But that's kind of a one-time thing. Maybe you could connect with the newspaper and get them to donate and put, some kind of just a free thing that says, to the homeless, this is what you can do and where you can go.
So the Nye County Commission is proactively advertising, and they said it in January. They got the word out among people who are homeless. Hey, come to Pahrump. If you have problems, wherever you are, if you need stuff and money, come here to Pahrump. Show up here. So that's why this has been happening. This is why we have more of these people walking around the street. The advertising apparently worked. And now here, I wanted to play this. This is now from the last meeting, the July 18th, 2023 meeting. Here is the commission, the same commission up there who months ago wanted to advertise and did. Here they are attempting to sort of act confused and pretend that they aren't aware of this at this meeting. It's interesting to watch this. This is them sort of pretending like that meeting a couple months ago didn't happen because otherwise they wouldn't be asking these questions. Here, let's play this.
And also, let's put an agenda item on for a workshop for the homeless issue so we can actually sit down and figure out what we're actually going to go do. Obviously, we talk about it. Let's put an action item together, put it on the agenda, put a workshop together, see what happens.
So I don't really understand. We've already done things about it. We've advertised to the homeless. We've handed out free stuff and money to the homeless. We've got $1.1 million coming to help them and to get them here in Pahrump so that they can collect all this money. I don't really know what a workshop is or what it's going to do, but I don't think you need a workshop to tell you that when you earmark over $1 million to give to homeless people and then you advertise that you're doing it, you're going to attract more homeless people. There's really problem solved without the workshop. And then there was an issue about new government-funded programs, what to do with possible new Biden money, and the person that's been handling the expansion of the homeless and handing all this money in Pahrump had this to say at the meeting. She wants to put up a brand. This is what I was talking about at the beginning of the program. This is the proposal for the brand new homeless shelter here in Pahrump. And listen to how it's very interesting what's said. And then I want to tie this in with something that happened months ago. But listen to this. This is the proposal for a brand new homeless shelter in Pahrump.
I think this would be a wonderful opportunity if we could look at a homeless, or I would rather call it a transitional shelter with a nutritional center attached. We all know, as we've all spoke up here, that it's a goal for the community. These are Nevada residents. They are in transition. They need help. I've been working diligently. I have found a 10,000 square foot building that has been committed to this project. It is pretty much ready, except for the need to put in bathrooms and a kitchen. But it's pretty much ready to go.
And this was just a proposal, so nothing was passed. But I didn't realize that we had a goal for Pahrump, and it was discussed by the commissioners, that the goal was to put homeless shelters in Pahrump and attract homeless people. I did not realize that. So this has been something that's apparently been getting prepared, and I'm sure the commission will advertise this also, to bring homeless people here to Pahrump to go to this homeless shelter. And let me go back in time again, and this is important, and I'm only going back twice, so that was current, what you just saw. I'm going to now go back in time to maybe explain, because I know maybe a lot of you are looking at this and saying, well, what is going on? I didn't see this coming. But I'm going to play for you part of my program from 4 months ago. This is about the $1 million Civic Center. That passed already. All 5 members of the commission, again, every single commissioner passed it. And now you see that there's a plan to put a homeless shelter in Pahrump that was somehow possibly being discussed back then. And now it's openly being discussed. Listen to what was said carefully from 4 months ago.
We've been telling him it's going to be this building, A. Okay, it's going to be this civic center or a community center or whichever. But other people have been saying things like, oh, it's going to house people that are maybe homeless or something to that degree. Again, this building is only going to be used for what we want to identify it for, which is a civic center where everybody can come do and do their thing. It's also part of an emergency. I just want to make sure that that's clear in the people that have the concern that maybe we're going to use it for housing 650 homeless people or something like that. So just want to make sure it's clear. I'm not saying it's not a good thing, but that's not what the purpose of the building.
Okay, I'm not really sure what was clear about any of that. That was 4 months ago, and it's interesting to me that one of the commissioners knows that this can house 650 homeless people. I don't know if maybe he made that up on the fly, or it just popped into his head. I'm not sure why that number was used. But it's interesting that he knows that, and it's also interesting that this person who spoke before the commission, who's been receiving money, over $1 million from the commission to hand out money to homeless people, addressed this same group and said, I know there's a goal for the community to put a homeless shelter in. We've been discussing that. I know that's a goal. So to answer his question, probably the reason why there's this discussion about this civic center that's already been passed, probably why people are saying that's going to house homeless, is because there's this goal, this community goal, that commissioners want to build homeless shelters in Pahrump.
I think this would be a wonderful opportunity if we could look at a homeless, or I would rather call it a transitional shelter with a nutritional center attached. We all know, as we've all spoke up here, that it's a goal for the community.
And I wasn't aware of that. I haven't seen that discussed. So if it was discussed somewhere, I didn't see it, and that's probably why people are speculating that this civic center, and I don't know what it means. People are going to do their thing in there. I don't know what people's thing are. I don't think we necessarily need a civic center to do whatever our thing is. But I want you to understand, this is not the homeless shelter he's talking about 4 months ago. Already passed, civic center. So the question is, will we have both a civic center and a homeless shelter housing homeless people, maybe a few thousand homeless people? If the commission votes to pass this homeless shelter, and hear me out, this is This is consistent with what was said 4 months ago and what was just said at this last July 18th, 2023 meeting. If the commission passes a homeless shelter and we have too many homeless people showing up and the homeless shelter's at capacity and there's all these people, hey, we don't know what to do with these people. Does this create the emergency that Commissioner Frank Carbone is talking about? Because he said, in an emergency, we could put 650 people there. That's not what it's intended for necessarily. It's for people to do their thing. And so is this emergency something that could potentially take the overflow of homeless people and have this perpetual emergency where we can't, and then we need another homeless shelter? So we could potentially be having 2 or 3 homeless shelters and then this civic center all just housing homeless. And this is certainly a possibility because he said it was in an emergency. So let's get back to this homeless shelter thing being discussed at this July 18th meeting. Let's get back to the discussion.
Along with it, my hopes, we can have workforce development in this building to help those that are transitioning to try to get jobs. Because the problem being is a lot of these people do not have a form of income. Yes, some do have income, but many do not. And so this would...
We have no jobs here in Pahrump, so I'm very confused why you'd put up a giant building to train a workforce to get jobs for anyone when there are no jobs. But that's what's being proposed. And she's talking about the homeless shelter that they want to put up. So let's continue.
There is also a psychiatrist who is also committed for both individual and group therapy, as well as helping with medication management. Roughly 24% of the people that are homeless have mental health. A lot of the mental health individuals also treat with illegal substances. It's what happens. This would give us an opportunity to help those Nevada residents that are struggling to get back on their feet, and we treat them with dignity. Give them a place to sleep, a place to shower, a place to eat, and hopefully a place to figure out how to get back on their feet.
Notice she says, and she's talking about this proposed homeless shelter that they haven't voted on yet, but they want to do this homeless shelter. And notice she says Nevada residents. I think that's interesting. She didn't say Nye County residents. She said Nevada residents. She didn't say Pahrump residents. She said Nevada residents. So what does that mean to you? If you're a Nevada resident and you live 100 miles north or whatever of Pahrump, 100 miles east of Pahrump, you're welcome here because it's for Nevada residents. And I want to explain something here about what happens if we transform Pahrump into Nevada's homeless destination or some kind of homeless super village or whatever is being proposed here. And it certainly looks like that to me. I've been told Pahrump has 3 ambulances that serve the thousands and thousands of people, many over the age of 75. And if we continue down this road that the county commission is on, the road that expands and grows homeless populations in Pahrump, people who don't work, and they sit around and they're exposed to 110-degree weather and they get sick. Some have drug problems. All are going to likely need some kind of medical care at some point. Medical care that we don't have a lot of here in Pahrump. And accidents happen, and that means buildings on fire, violence, or whatever, and all requiring police care. And police we do not have a lot of here in Pahrump. We need more police in Pahrump. And this is a primary concern for me personally. We cannot take care of extra people. We barely can take care of who we have living in the homes that we have zoned and coded and built here. And we're growing in a normal way. And this is a very simple explanation for wanting to stop the growth of this kind of spending to attract residents who don't buy into the system. And this is just a classic observation. If you're on a plane that's going down, you put the oxygen on yourself first before you can take care of other people. Otherwise, you're going to pass out taking care of other people. We can't take care of other people until we take care of ourselves. And with 3 ambulances in a town like this, if that's true, and that's what someone told me, he was very credible. I don't know if that's true or not. But that is a problem. This commission has taken this ARPA money, this federal money from the Biden administration. It's designed to give money to those who don't work. And this will keep people in the communities that pay them. That's what's going on. It's very simple. It's why these people are popping up who don't work all over the place, and the shopping carts are everywhere. I wanted to go a little bit further, and I had put together some things from the Bible. And there are a lot of quotes about work. God's design for us is to work. My concern is that since we're not in a church environment, and many people listening are not Christians, it's easily taken out of context, not understanding and not being a believer. So I don't want to get into it like I intended to, or in my mind, that's where I go. But I will just summarize it by saying, if you read the Bible, or you're a Christian, you're a believer, you'll see all over, and I'll give you some just the where to look if you're interested. 2 Thessalonians 3:10, Proverbs 23:21, Proverbs 14:23, Proverbs 10:4, Proverbs 28:19. If you want to look those up, it paints that picture. God wants us to work and be productive. It's all over the Bible. But this, what the commission is doing, it does not create an orderly society. We need an orderly society. If someone is incapable of working, not able to care for themselves, and they didn't plan, they need to be in a facility that can do that for them. Route 160 is not a mental hospital. It's a dangerous place with cars and animals and high temperatures and pot shops and liquor stores. It's the last place you want to put a mentally unstable person. And I just don't get why people in government never talk about that. Or these people who go up and say that they're being compassionate, never bring that up. That's not compassionate to me. So what we need to do is pretty simple. Get people right by God and by an orderly society that God hopes, and I hope you want an orderly society regardless of what you believe. And this means get these people out of Pahrump, because the things that these people need, the medical care, the jobs, psychiatric care, we don't have it here. If we become a destination for people to come and hang out and do drugs and not work, not only does it not please God, it doesn't make for a good community. It's not just dangerous for people out there who are baking in the sun all day in high temperatures, but for other people too. And we barely have the medical care and police to take care of the community that already lives here. So the commission puts this giant shelter in, the homeless shelter, like this lady wants to do. It's a wrong direction for the community. We'll fill our streets with people who refuse to work. We will create a disorderly society. We will have mentally ill people who need to be treated and watched over, who are just going around without being treated. We don't need a blue ribbon committee or endless commission meetings or whatever, workshop to talk about this. It's not really that difficult of a concept to grasp. Remove all this funding, stop this immediately, stop the ARPA programs, don't build a homeless shelter. Don't promise these people help and deliver chaos. Pahrump has no jobs for homeless people. Pahrump has inadequate medical care. Pahrump has inadequate psychiatric care. One psychiatrist is not going to be able to handle this. Why are we trying to bring all of these people here? It just makes no sense. It's not compassionate. But that's what our county commission is doing, and that's what they will do until we change our county commission. And that's it for this program. Don't forget to go to www.ianbayne.com. It's IANBAYNE.com for more.